Good day to you all, and thank you for joining my channel, Dorothy Inspires. If this is your first time watching me, you are welcome. Social work jargon. So today we're going to be talking about social work jargon. I've listed for you most of the typical social work jargons that is used in adult social care. I will go through each one in turn and I will address what they are and what they mean. So the first one is safeguarding. Safeguarding. So if you're a social worker, then your role will be to safeguard vulnerable adults. Now the Care Act 2014 tells us that in order for a local authority to respond to a safeguarding matter or safeguarding concern, there are 3 criteria that must be met. So the first criteria that has to be met is, has the person got care and support needs? Do they have care and support needs? Secondly, are they experiencing or are they at risk of abuse or neglect? And finally, are they unable to protect themselves because of those needs? So you have to satisfy the 3 criteria in order to respond to a safeguarding concern. If you are a social worker and your manager allocates to you a client for you to address a safeguarding matter, whether it's physical abuse, emotional neglect or financial abuse, etc. Whatever the safeguarding issue is, and you go out to visit the client and you speak to the client on the phone or to gather information, you need to describe to them what the actual concern is, so what the actual safeguarding concern is. I find that very often the word safeguarding is sometimes overused as a word. You need to describe what the actual concern is to the vulnerable adult who you're trying to protect. So rather than just simply saying safeguarding or quoting the word safeguarding at the vulnerable adult, this word may mean nothing, absolutely nothing to the vulnerable adult and would likely frighten the adult you want to safeguard. I will do a separate video specifically on safeguarding vulnerable adults because it's a very important topic. And I think I do need to do a separate video on safeguarding. So I will do that in the very near future. The other social work jargon is MCA. Now MCA stands for Mental Capacity Assessments. No doubt in your career as a social worker with adults, you will do mental capacity assessments. And I will do a separate video on mental capacity assessments as well. Now the word review. Now review, the actual word review is not a social work jargon as such. You know, many professionals use the word review. There are many professions that they need to review their clients. GPs, nurses, hospitals have to review their patients. Bankers have to review their clients' financial history in order to provide financial services, the most appropriate financial services to their customers. So the review is actually used in many professions where they have to review their clients. The word itself is not a social work jargon. However, it's used a lot in social work. And I feel that an explanation is required as to what it actually means in adult social work, what reviewing somebody means. So just to explain what review means in adult social work. When we put in care or support for someone, which we usually call package of care or care package. So following an assessment, if we determine that the person needs support, then we put in the support that is required. Now, for everyone who is receiving support from adult social care, they need to be reviewed once a year. And we usually call that annual review. However, if a person's situation changes before they're due for their annual review, and it's brought to our attention, then we will have to review them earlier. So let's say, for example, the client's condition deteriorates, they get really poorly and they need more support. Or on the other hand, they have gotten better, they're much better and they don't need that much support. Provided we know about it and it's been brought to our attention, then we'll go out and review the client sooner. Otherwise, if everything is okay, we would usually review a client once a year. If a client is not able to take part in their review or in their safeguarding or in their assessment, and there is no family member or friend or advocate who's able to support them, then it immediately triggers our duty under the Care Act 2014 to provide an advocate to support them in the process. OT is occupational therapy, so I won't go too much into that. PT is physiotherapy. ADL stands for activities of daily living. Anything that you need to do in order to get through the day, whether you're at home, whether you go out to work, etc. There are certain things that you have to achieve each day. For example, getting out of bed, brushing your teeth, having a bath or a shower, being able to access the toilet, being able to access the community, managing your meals, going out to do your shopping. All these are activities of daily living. Care package or package of care. You will hear this word quite a lot in adult social care because we provide care for people who need it. Care package or package of care is the support that is provided to a client following an assessment, if it is required, of course. A care package can be provided in different ways. It can be through a commissioned care, which is via a care agency, or a care provider, which is commissioned by the local authority. Or you can receive it. You can receive a care package via direct payments, and I will explain that later. Okay, QDSK. QDSK stands for 4 care visits a day. TDSK stands for 3 care visits a day. BDSK stands for 2 visits a day. You will find these terminologies often on medical reports written by GPs and various health professionals. Care Act Eligibility. Right, so whether an individual has needs which is eligible for support under the Care Act 2014, so the adult would need to have care and support needs. So in order to be eligible for support under the Care Act, the adult would need to show that their needs for care and support arise from certain health problems. As a result of the health problems, they are unable to do certain things. And finally, there is a significant impact on their well-being. In England, you need to show that you are unable to achieve 2 or more outcomes in order to be eligible for support. So when we talk about outcomes, we mean things like shopping, eating and drinking, maintaining personal hygiene, managing toileting needs, being appropriately clothed and dressed, keeping your home clean, safe and hygienic, being able to access the community, and so forth. Assessment. Assessment is whereby we go out to see the adult and to gather further information to help us determine whether the adult has care needs or not. Assessments can be done virtually via the telephone or via Teams, Zoom, but ideally it should be face-to-face. During the height of the pandemic, we had to do our assessments virtually. We were not able to do face-to-face visits at the time. However, generally, assessments are to be done face-to-face. Direct payments. Direct payments is where the local authority gives the service users or the clients or the customer the money directly to pay for their own care. So rather than the local authority provide the care through commission services, direct payments is an option that we always like to encourage because it gives the client more flexibility to choose who they would like to care for them, and they can have total control of how their care is delivered. Direct payments is an area that I will be addressing in a future video. D2A. D2A stands for Discharge to Assess. Discharge to Assess is about supporting hospital patients to leave hospital when it's safe and to continue their care and assessment when they leave hospital. So that's D2A in a nutshell. CHC. CHC stands for Continuing Healthcare. So if someone's primary needs is related to their health, then it's expected that health must fund their care. Someone can receive a continuing healthcare funding in their home or in a nursing home or residential care home. Continuing healthcare can be provided in any setting. So here are just a few tips and advice for you. When you're writing your social work assessments and your case recordings, Avoid the use of shortened versions of a word or acronyms. For example, saying MCA instead of mental capacity assessment, or QDSK instead of 4 care visits a day. Be very clear in what you're saying or what you're writing. Remember that you might understand what you're saying. Your colleagues may understand what you're saying because it's a social work term that you're familiar with, but our clients may not understand what these are. Everything should be spelled in full so that our clients understand the assessments. Remember that the assessments that we write are about the adult, the client, and it's for the client. They are entitled to see their assessments. In social work, we always have students in our midst, newly qualified and people who visit for work experience and for shadowing opportunities. We have people who are new to the profession and who have no social work background or social care background. These groups of people may not understand these terminologies, so we must not assume. It's important that we spell it out and explain what we mean. Also, just a point to note, a newly qualified social worker or someone who's new to the profession may be reluctant to speak up and say, actually, I don't understand what this means, because they feel they may be judged. It may be a formal meeting, like a multidisciplinary meeting, where there are other professionals, and because of maybe 1 or 2 jargon words or acronyms that the new worker may not be familiar with, it may totally displace the person. So it's important that in social work, you are mindful of students and less experienced people in your midst. For those of you who are experienced social workers in adult social care, you would most certainly be familiar with these words because you're already in the profession. But if you're able to cast your mind back to when you were new to this profession, and at least some of these words meant nothing to you, remember that somebody else is in the same position that you were once in. Thank you very much for watching me. I trust that you've learned something today. I am devoting my time to support my fellow people. I need your support so that I can continue what I'm doing. Please share my videos, subscribe, like my channel. Hit the notification bell so that you'll never miss any of my videos. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.